Milwaukee, July 1991. A small apartment, silent like every other night. But behind door 213, a secret was bleeding. When police stepped inside, they didn't just open a room. They tore the mask off the city. Jeffrey Dahmer, 31, sweaty hair, icy blue eyes. He didn't run, didn't cry. He simply said, as calmly as describing dinner, "I kept them." 17 victims, 17 people vanished, stored, photographed, preserved, in the fridge, in the walls, in his mind. But the most haunting part? No one heard a thing. Neighbors just meters away, sharing a hallway, separated by thin walls, heard no screams, smelled nothing unusual, noticed nothing wrong. Police had even visited, then left, leaving Dahmer alone with the monster in his chest. Dahmer didn't fit the cold-blooded killer mold. He was quiet, polite, smiled at neighbors. But behind that smile was hell, and no one dared look deeper. So the scariest question isn't, what did he do? It's, what did we miss? Milwaukee in the 1980s. Air thick with metal and oil, dusty streets, dim streetlights barely cutting through dense gray fog. No place for the weak. The poor squeezed into crumbling apartment blocks, peeling walls, life's sounds leaking through paper-thin walls, fights, cries, then silence. That's where Jeffrey Dahmer grew up. Skinny, pale, hair over his eyes, always looking down, a shadow in the crowd. At school, no one remembered his name. At home, his parents argued, his mother unstable, his father cold, then divorced, leaving Jeffrey in a freezing house, unloved, untouched. From young, he was different. He went into the woods, searched for carcasses, dogs, cats, anything with bones. Tools in hand, his eyes lit up. While kids played with toys, he played with silence. As he aged, alcohol and pills replaced meals. The void inside him, no one could fill it. He couldn't bear abandonment. To him, love meant total control. If love risked being left, then better to keep them, forever. Don't let them leave, not ever, by any means. And so, he acted. Not for blood, not for screams, but to avoid loneliness. Each victim a desperate struggle against being forgotten. Milwaukee didn't create him, but it kept him invisible long enough for darkness to thrive. And no one noticed. He didn't act immediately. Jeffrey Dahmer lured first. In Milwaukee's dim bars where red lights flickered off cheap drinks, he watched quietly. Messy hair, blue eyes, still as ice. He offered a drink, faint smile, deep voice. Trustworthy enough, distant enough. His first victim, Stephen Hicks, 19, dark hair, tall, cheerful. In 1978, Jeffrey invited him to the Oxford house. Inside the cluttered room, reeking of chemicals and stale beer, they drank. Hicks wanted to leave, Dahmer didn't. A small no. A soft don't go. Then, a blow with a heavy object. Hicks died instantly. Jeffrey hid the remains, kept bones. "You're staying," he whispered to the lifeless form. An idea sparked. Not to kill and end, but to preserve. Disappearance terrified him, but keeping someone, even in death, he believed he could. From 1987 to 1991, he took 16 more lives, mostly young men of color, homeless, the forgotten by society. He tried to make living companions, mindless beings who'd never leave. When it failed, he kept them by other means, step by step, documented, labeled. Apartment 213 became a private chamber, marked floors, storage in old freezers, chemical smells in the air. Neighbors complained. Dahmer smiled. Spoiled food. They believed him. He acted in motels and cars, hauled bags home. For 13 years, he was darkness in a living city. 17 gone. No suspicion. No one stopped him. Because he didn't scream, didn't rage, just cold. Very cold. Like Milwaukee's starless nights. Summer 1991. His downfall began with a survivor. Tracy Edwards, 32, muscular, sharp brown eyes, entered apartment 213 under dim yellow lights. Jeffrey offered him a drink. Tracy sniffed chemicals. The room felt still, strange. Jeffrey's stare drilled into him, cold as a whetted blade. Suddenly, Dahmer grabbed his wrist, cuffed him, pressed a knife to his throat. "You're staying." But this time, the prey fought back. Tracy resisted, broke free, ran. The killer, for the first time, lost control. Tracy fled down the hallway, screaming into Milwaukee's night. People heard. Finally, police came. Jeffrey opened the door, wrinkled shirt, sweat on his brow, but voice calm. "Just a fight." Tracy, panting, trembling, pointed, "Please, check inside." Police entered. A cluttered room with a pungent odor, a fridge with remains, photos scattered on the floor. The scent could no longer be masked. A nightmare unveiled, and Jeffrey Dahmer was handcuffed. But the true twist wasn't the crime. It was the system's long neglect. Warnings existed, but were ignored. Because Jeffrey didn't fit the killer stereotype, polite, clean-cut, soft-spoken, lived alone, who allowed 17 deaths through neglect. Not just one murderer, but a society that abandoned victims through silence, bias, and avoidance. In prison, Jeffrey sat quietly, faint smirk, lifeless blue eyes. "I knew I'd be safe for a long time," he said. He wasn't lying. He was safe because no one cared. No one wanted to believe evil could live upstairs. No one wanted to ask when seeing blood, hearing cries. They turned away. They walked off. And each time, another person died. It wasn't just Jeffrey's crime, it was silence's complicity. Apartment 213, Oxford Apartments, was torn brick by brick. Peeling walls, rotting floors, yellow light casting shadows over a hidden world beneath normalcy. Police entered, masks useless against the chemical odor. They found everything: arranged remains, containers with dissolved matter, detailed records and photos. Officers choked, not from the smell, but because the evidence had always been there, unseen. Jeffrey sat, hands cuffed, eyes locked on a corner. "I kept them forever," he whispered. Not angry, not sorry, just a cold, blunt truth. But what truly chilled the public was a name: Konarak Synthesomphone, 1988. A 14-year-old boy, Laotian, disoriented, wide, terrified eyes, escaped Jeffrey's apartment. He begged for help. 2 women called police. They arrived. They saw a child, no ID, barely speaking English. Then they saw Jeffrey, neatly dressed, soft-spoken. "He's my partner. He's drunk." Police chuckled, believed him, returned Konarak. Less than an hour later, the boy was gone, included in Jeffrey's photos. The painful twist. One officer later joked on radio about a weird incident. They weren't fired, just briefly suspended. They let a child die due to prejudice and faced no consequence. It wasn't a one-time failure. 1989, a man escaped, claimed drugging and shackling. Police found him trembling, concluded just high, then left. 1990, a neighbor called, "I hear screaming, like someone in danger." No one came. Over 4 years, 17 gone, yet every report, every warning ignored, because Jeffrey didn't look like a monster. White, quiet, employed, could smile. Victims were the opposite: young, brown, poor, voiceless in society. The real investigation began only after Tracy escaped. Then, police revisited everything: clear evidence, survivor statements, records. They set a trap. Undercover officers staged a couple's argument at Jeffrey's door. They faked shouting, door pounding, a tense night. Jeffrey emerged, hand in coat pocket, dazed. "Is there a problem?" An officer asked. "Anyone screaming in your place?" Silence. Then, handcuffs snapped. No resistance, no struggle, pale as ash. I knew. This day would come. But why not sooner? How many could have been saved? Who let Konarak die? Who laughed off reports? Who filed cases away when forgot? Jeffrey was a predator, no doubt. But darkness didn't only live in 213. It hid in every ignored call, every quiet bias, every incident joke, every chance to stop him. Wasted. The investigation didn't just reveal a killer. It exposed fatal cracks in the system. No one wanted to admit failure, but lives were lost. Reports vanished. Victims won't return. The 1992 trial shook Milwaukee, a gray city echoing with sobs and camera flashes. Jeffrey Dahmer stood in court, brown hair combed, white shirt pressed, expression blank. He confessed, "I kept them to stay close." Voice flat, cold, unshaken, like recounting chores. Victims' families sobbed, fists pounding wooden tables, eyes red, staring at the thief of their loved ones. Parents lost children, siblings lost brothers. Unbearable grief. Jurors froze, pens halted. 17 gone, 13 years, downtown, unnoticed. Life sentence, sent to Columbia Prison, he sat still, expression unchanged. Families cried, "Who'll give us back our children?" But who could? Justice felt mocking. Both killer and system had bloodied hands. Who takes blame? Who let 17 die? Who hid the truth? November 28, 1994. Cold Columbia Prison. Jeffrey Dahmer died. Blood on the floor, trauma to the head. A fellow inmate attacked him with a bar while he cleaned. No one stopped it in time. But before death, he whispered to a guard, "I didn't want to hurt them. Something made me." He never said what it was. Police didn't ask. People thought, it's over. Oxford Apartments, his lair, was demolished, ground leveled. The city wanted to forget, but the earth remembers. 20 years later, locals reported knocking sounds at 2 to 3 a.m., soft, steady, from the ground where the building once stood, not loud, not violent, just like someone reminding they're still there. A new complex rose above. Lights flickered off. Odd smells drifted down halls. People shut windows, avoided the river, avoided the soil. Some whispered, "He never left." 2005, a maintenance man claimed he saw a tall, thin figure with red eyes by the river before dawn. 2010, a third-floor woman heard hissing from inside her walls, like acid on flesh. 2015, local kids drew figures at the playground. Red eyes, long arms, standing under a second-floor window. Adults asked, "Who showed you this?" The children said nothing. Is Conorak still out there, or just his spirit? Some say they hear barefoot footsteps in the hallway at night. 1987 files were buried, reports lost, witnesses missing. Who buried them? Who silenced them? Has justice truly arrived? Whispers continue. Jeffrey wasn't born a monster. Maybe. But if so, who let him take so many lives? Who turned him into this? A city, a society, a system, or collective silence? Some things, even buried, still know how to knock from beneath the tiles. Would you dare go back there? Have you heard the knocking?